Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this week's video, it's all about the inner critic and what that even means. So in creating this video, there was times when I was like kind of reflecting back on my own journey of listening to the, some people would call it demons, some people would refer to the critic as like the inner voice, which there's a difference, by the way. I will get into that later in the video. So the inner critic, the times when you want to do something, you want to stand out, you want to speak up, you want to go for a new opportunity, get into a new career, speak up in front of a crowd. The inner critic kind of seeps in and says, shh, don't speak up. They're gonna listen to you. People are gonna judge you. People are going to not like you. Your voice doesn't matter. And all that. Everything else. All of that comes with our conditioning. Or that time when you're just sitting on a dinner table and just eating quietly, and that suddenly the voice comes up of, what am I doing here? Maybe I shouldn't have said that to my friend. Maybe I hurt that person. Maybe I didn't speak up at work. And so much more. Okay, I guess you got an idea of what that is. So let's dive deep into that. When I think about the inner critic, I see it like a bad friend beside of me, and I see that friend and I give it most attention, and I don't know how to push that person away. I don't know how to tell that person, you're so rude and I don't want to listen to you anymore. I'm so scared to tell that friend that I'm not satisfied. I don't like the friendship. I don't like the relationship that we're in. Imagine that friend, that bad friend, as the inner critic. The inner critic comes up in many different ways, many different settings, and it's very, very sneaky. When I first heard that inner critic, I used to question where it came from. And was it loud or was it quiet? And I realized throughout the years, it was really loud. And times maybe not. Times it was just there. But my actions were showing different. My actions were reflecting that inner critic. My actions were supporting that inner critic. I didn't know necessarily how to vocalize it, but I knew that there was someone whispering something that wasn't pleasant. And the more that I dug deep into that inner critic, the more I knew that it's just a part of me, but it's not me. It's not fully me. And you may even say it's the voice, the noise. Maybe so many people have different personalities. They have different voices inside of them. There's the supportive one, there's the loving one, there's the caring one, there's the critical one, there's the judgmental one. So you see, these are all in front of you as aspects of you and parts of you. And there is no permanent way to actually fully silence that voice. What really helped me when I started to notice it, it just wanted to be noticed. I just wanted to be seen. And it was I think it was coming from the ego almost, that there was a part of me that didn't feel authentic to that voice. I was listening to it, and and at times I would believe it. At times I don't question what it says. I just believe it because it's my thought, and of course I'm gonna believe it. Years down the line, there was times when I was like, it's enough, right? In your life, when there's times when you just don't resonate anymore, you're like, I want to drop this, but I also want to become curious about it. So begin to observe it in your day. Maybe when you're writing, maybe you're out in a park and walking, and it just comes seeping in, like, what are you saying? What are you walking? You're wasting so much time. You should be doing XYZ, and it continues and continues and continues to a point where it exhausts you. One way to really quiet down is to become detached from it. And by saying detached is not to be familiar with it. Don't make a relation with it. Don't make it so that, oh, my inner critic, you may not even consciously know it's your inner critic. You just have that negative voice coming up of that you should be doing this, then that, and it keeps judging you. I find it helpful to meditate. So when I'm meditating, I get to silence it because I'm bringing awareness towards my breathing, and I'm shifting my thought, my focus towards something else, just not the voice. I know that so many people would be consumed by the thoughts and, would sit there and have their whole day just be, going from incredibly amazing day to a day where you just feel unproductive, or you feel like you haven't done much. And these just the expectations that you have about yourself. And it really comes down to how you were raised, the society you were around, and how you treat yourself. A part of it is when you listen to that voice, do you care enough about it to walk with it? Or do you listen to it and let go? Or there's the other part where you listen to it and you just drop it. You say, like, it's enough. I don't really want to listen to you. And a way to quiet it and to quiet the noise in your head. And a way to quiet the noise in your head is to confront what it's trying to tell you. But it doesn't mean believing. There's a difference between observing something, seeing something, than choosing to believe it. Because again, believing something about you is a choice. You could either decide to you could either believe it, or you could just sit there and observe what it's telling you. And then you can decide to let it go. Now, I know it sounds very easy to do, or it sounds like, oh, I'm gonna just wake up and not listen to anything that I say. I don't mean that. What I mean is you can just sit there, observe it, bring awareness to yourself that you have two choices. You could either follow it or choose not to. Again, I'm using the analogy of a friend so that it becomes clear in your mind and you become to visualize it better. I just love analogies, and I feel like people remember stories like that instead of just me trying to explain it here. Familiarize yourself with the inner critic. It's a bad friend. And that bad friend is influencing the way you feel about life, about people, about yourself. So in trying to understand it doesn't quite help because you're focusing still on the inner critic. You're still focusing on the bad friend. You're still focusing on what they're trying to tell you and their opinions. So you still care about it. It's still a matter to you. When that doesn't become a matter anymore, you then can shift your focus, right? Whether it was shifting your focus to, okay, what can I be proud of? What can I be grateful for? How how much of what I'm saying to myself, because we all have like trillion thoughts come up and just like that, right? So focusing on something else, how quick am I to really shift my energy, to really get, myself in a state where I just decide I don't want to listen to this anymore, right? And it can be as quick as when you are going for a walk and it just comes up, and the only time you can just say to yourself is, I don't choose to listen to this. This is not helping me at all. It is not helping me in making a choice. It's not helping me feel calmer. It's not helping me in deciding my life choices. Nothing. So if it's not providing any feedback, if it's not providing any result, if it's not providing any, it's not of help. Like, it's not helping you by listening to it, but it only feeds off the belief and the idea about yourself that I'm not good, or that I'm a bad person, or I've done things in the past. So the inner critic actually comes up, and it just, shoots up different things from your childhood, like whether it was memories, words from people, maybe you were bullied, it might shoot that experience too, and it lights up a bulb in your head that, oh my goodness, like I did experience that. And then you end up your whole day just thinking about that experience, which was from the past. Or it could be something about the future. It might creep in and tell you, hey, you don't have X amount of money, how are we going to survive? Or I don't like this career, how is my life going to be like? All those things. So remember that you have a choice, and you have that capacity to step in and say that no, enough is enough, don't want to listen to it. Also, is not to become an enemy of it because it's a part of you. There's fear kicking in. Silently just observing it and, bringing awareness. Like, is what I'm saying, or what that voice is saying, is it really me? Or is it just a thought that I'm being an observant of it, that you're just an experiencer of it? So it's surrendering to that process and really being mindful of what you say to yourself. So there were times when I would say really bad things towards myself, and I'm like, I don't deserve that. And that happened when I raised my vibration, my self-worth. I started to feel good about myself, started to do things that feel uncomfortable so that I can step into the person that I want to become. And that happened when I let go of all the stories from the past, when I let go of things that convinced me that I'm not good enough, or that I'm not a good creator, or that I'm not a good writer, or that I'm not a person that can be with people. Going from anxious to being confident, and feeling like myself, feeling like I'm confident, I'm able to show parts of myself, where in the past there was a lot of shame of speaking up, and having that suppressed for a very long time. So it's really in remembering, what are you trying to hide? Why are you hiding it? Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it that you hide yourself because you want to show just a tiny bit of you, but how much of that is actually real? And honestly, you cannot control what people say. You cannot control what they think about you. The only thing is within your control is to respond, and how you choose to respond, because not everyone is gonna like you. And in the truths of that, I chose that. I could just live a life where I'm pleasing, I'm accepting people's behaviors, I don't know myself, no boundaries, and just living life because that's my life, right? That's just acceptance of something that is, coming from a trigger, coming from deep pain. So learn to have that observing, right? That observant mindset, whether it was a thought or an experience, or just even observing the room and reading the room. That gives you a level of comfort that, I don't really have to speak, that I can just be there in the room just an example. So anytime that voice comes up, it's just a reminder that you can always choose where it goes. You can either chuck it in the bin, or you can just follow it, or you can hold hands with it and make friends with other inner critics. Just like, just imagine it like a friend or a bunch of friends and visualize it. Would you want to be with a bad friend who gives you bad advice, who is not caring about you, who doesn't really show compassion, don't even care, they don't respond to you, they don't put enough effort to make the friendship work or the relationship work? Or would you want someone who is there for you when you need them, and who show up in your bad times and are honest with you about the relationship and life, that they don't have to face, but they are just who they are? So take that analogy and apply it to your life whenever that inner critic shoots up. We all have it. I have it. And the only way to come out of it stronger and healthier is to just, okay, something showed up, like it shot something up. I can either believe it, follow it, be friends with it, or let it go. So so all of this is just a decision to say what path you choose to follow. And so many people are just lost in that. They're lost in their heads. They're lost in trying to be perfect, trying to micromanage, trying to be perfect date. And they just show parts of themselves where they feel they're accepted. And I have deep compassion for that, because some people don't really know how to come out of it, or they have just bad influence, and then people are not supportive around them, which I can't really blame them for that. So in your life, reflect and see, are you blaming yourself for all the things that you didn't know? Can you forgive yourself for that? And care for what you can do right now, knowing all that you know now, so that you don't make the mistakes that you did in the past. It's a very interesting topic and subject, and all the things that I'm talking about is just flowing through me. I don't prepare anything. I don't like to prepare scripts. I'm just very intuitive in the way that I speak. And everything just comes naturally when I do it like this. But trust me, when I try to script it out, try to write it out, it just doesn't work. I either say something and I mess up, and I try to remember what I wrote and I have to look at my notes. So sometimes it does help to have some notes down and just to be a better creator. But you just don't have to be like everybody else. Sometimes whatever works for you, whatever thing that you're confident in, nobody can take that from you, because that's something that makes you you, and that's something that makes me me, and different, or just like everybody else, having their own gifts and having their own voice to share their experience. You also have your platform to share your voice, to speak what's on your mind, and just to be honest about your life and about yourself, because you're not lying to anybody else. First, you gotta be honest with what's going on. How can you change it? And what are you struggling with? And what do you need help with? And there's absolutely no shame in vocalizing that to the right people. You don't want to share things with people who are just quick to judge, quick to push away, and you just don't feel supported at all. So I really hope that you took some insights from this and it was helpful. And I feel like this is more like a one-on-one chat, I really do feel connected. And maybe I would do a live stream someday. But yeah, hope that was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye now.